As Israeli attacks on Gaza continue, the leaders of Fatah and Hamas are discussing plans for how the Strip will be administered after the war. The two main Palestinian political groups have been at odds for years and have been holding talks in Cairo. Well, for more on this, we're going to bring in Mohamad Elmasry. He's a media studies professor at the Doha Institute for Graduate Studies. Thanks again for joining us. First of all, can you explain how significant these two groups are meeting and just give us a little bit of context about the history between them and the differences and the sticking points that there might be when they come to discuss the day after the war?
Right. So these are the two most important players in Palestinian politics. And as you note, they have deep ideological differences. There was an election held, not to go too far back in history, but there was an election in 2006. Hamas won that election. In 2007, there was basically an attempt at a coup. It was organized by the United States, participated in by Fatah. They tried to basically overthrow Hamas at that time. It led to a civil war. So that just underscores, the complexity here. So the fact that they're talking at all is, I think, a welcome sign. And if this, leads to something positive, then I think it could be significant for Palestinian politics.
What could be something positive that comes out of this meeting? I mean, what exactly, in their eyes, will they want to do once the war in Gaza ends?
Well, for the long term, I think it's very important that there's some kind of Palestinian unity for the long term of Palestinian politics. But in the short term, this, I think, could incentivize the United States to put pressure on Israel to end the war. So in the short term, I think, I can envisage a scenario in which this helps lead to the end of the war. Having said that, I think we should be very cautious because no one has asked Israel yet what they think about all of this, right? Israel has given itself effective veto power over Palestinian politics. It said that it wouldn't allow Hamas to run the Gaza Strip, and it also said it would not allow Fatah to run the Gaza Strip.
So in that regard, are these points completely pointless if Israel's not going to agree to having either of these groups involved at all?
Well, I don't think it's completely pointless. I mean, if you're Palestinian and you're involved in politics, you have to engage in some kind of pushback, and this is a way to kind of apply pressure. But as I said, I'm going to treat this very cautiously. We haven't heard from Israel. We haven't heard from Donald Trump, for that matter. Remember, there was a few months ago, there were reports that we may be close to a ceasefire. Donald Trump picked up the phone, called Benjamin Netanyahu, and said, "Do not agree to a ceasefire on the watch of the Democrats." He thought it would hurt his chances at the election. And certainly now, as he's the incumbent, or he won the election, he's going to be taking power here in just a couple of months, or less than a couple of months. He's not going to want the ceasefire to happen on Joe Biden's watch. He's going to want to take credit for it himself. So, and Netanyahu's not going to want to alienate Trump.
Yeah, but there's also pressure coming from Trump to find an end to this war, isn't there? So Netanyahu has to take that on board as well. Do you see this ending sooner rather than later? Like maybe not before Trump takes office, but not long after?
Well, I think certainly that's the hope. The hope that it ends, sooner or later. This is, 14 months now of genocide. But I have a lot of questions. What is going to happen to the Israeli troops inside the Gaza Strip? Is Israel going to be willing to withdraw those troops, or are they going to annex swaths of Gaza, which is what they've wanted all along? What are they going to do about Hamas and Hamas members? They're not going to be able to kill off all of the Hamas members as they said they wanted to do. So I think we have still a lot of questions, and we have to treat this cautiously. Indeed.
Thank you so much, Mohamad, as always, for breaking it down for us. Thanks so much.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.